for breakfast. We are the sound of Lagos. This is Mainland 98.3 FM.
To bring normalcy and redecorate its body.
General elections in 2023 have created conversations and consequences that will live with us for years to come. From the executive to the judiciary, legislature, media, and the people, organized labor, and civil society organizations, issues that will continue to shape the future of our country needs continuous probing and interrogation.
I see the greater objective for the party, and let me tell you, I've told the PDP in some locations that, gentlemen, be careful. Better men have founded parties that have gone into oblivion. Where's the party of Awolowo? Where's the party of Azikwe? Where's PRP of Rimi? Political parties must be nurtured, they must be reinvented, they must be true to their own
ᴏᴜᴜ and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland 98.3 FM for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies, and governance. Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
Okay, it's another Wednesday afternoon. Welcome to Midweek Politics, live on Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. It was a pleasure to have you join us on the show today. Today is the 20th day of March 2024, and yet again, Ramadan Kareem to our friends, brothers, sisters, and loved ones, listeners anywhere around the world. I was streaming this program live, by the way. Just follow us on facebook.com/Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos, or you follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at Mainland FM, on Instagram and YouTube. You can also watch us there live, Mainland 98.3 FM. This program is Midweek Politics. We do this just once a week. That's every Wednesday from 1 to 3 p.m. Said Fuad and I. Sometimes we have, Matthew Okodo joining us in the studio. We get to take you around the world of politics. Our political conversations deeper than your regular surface engagement you have, beyond what you get to read on the pages of your newspapers or your other news outlets like radio, TV. I will take you way beyond the surface. We dig it down, give you sound bites, opinions, and perspective to seeing things. So once again, you're welcome. Well, the week had been really, I don't want to use the word interesting, but depending on what side of the divide you are, and what had majorly dominated the conversation had to be the unfortunate killings of the soldiers in Delta State, and the days after I brought a lot of issues in respect to quick reference actually to what happened in OD community when the former president Olusegun Obasanjo gave an order for that community to be wiped out. And it's quite unfortunate. And you look at what happened in Delta State. We've seen a lot of narrative about it. I saw a video that was trending on one of the social platforms yesterday, where a local media did a report on what really happened, and it just throws a lot of questions and questions again. Today on the show, we're going to look at a couple of issues, but we'll focus more on the unfortunate killing of the 14 soldiers in Delta. Yesterday, the defense headquarters released the details of all of the slain officers. We have majors, captains. I mean, you ask yourself, how difficult will life be for the families of those people? You know, it's a conversation that I brought up a lot of coloration and different sentiment around it. If you follow these issues on the social media platform, or you engage people one-on-one, then you understand that we have a different perspective to how we intend to fix the security challenges of this country. And hey, what happened in Delta cannot be detached from the challenges that we're having. Remember, when the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua came up, when he got sworn in rather as the president, one of the first key thing he did was to announce amnesty for militants. Return your weapons in exchange for scholarships, in exchange for jobs, in exchange for settlement, and it brought relative peace in that region. Militant leaders are assigned or given contract to guard pipelines to make sure that it's almost like putting the cat to watch over the meats. You know very well that the cats would have to be accountable, but it looks like it was just paper over cracks. It seems a lot of things have been happening within those communities, and the government is not taking notes until the unfortunate what happened. I'm sure you've seen the videos, you've seen the pictures, really gory. I mean, you ask yourself, how do people get the mind to carry out such a disgusting act? I mean, we look at that on the show today. Edwin Clark, elder statesman, is talking about the same issue. And then the number 3 man in the country, distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, is also talking, is linking the killings to mercenaries. And also, INEC is talking. INEC says infighting and parallel primaries within political parties are wasting the resources of the election body. That's election umpire. Yes, I think that's the key word. We'll also look at Ondo State. The primaries for the gubernatorial election in the state that is slated for November is next month, and we've seen what happened in Edo State. Now Edo State had Edo APC had adopted Honorable Idahosa to be Senator Monday's running mate. We'll also look at that maybe later on the show. But then there is the Lucky Aiyedatiwa conversation. It's publicly declared, and a lot of candidates, especially from the PDP, are picking up their nomination forms, by the way. So we've got it loaded on the show today. Side Forward is here. I don't do this alone, and it's always my pleasure to have him join us every Wednesday from 1 to 3 p.m. Side Forward, Ramadan Karim, and you're welcome to the show again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Okoyemi. Good time to also discuss politics, look at governance, and of course, look at development in different parts of the country, especially when it comes to what is happening in the Niger Delta region. Of course, a lot of talks as to what is happening in that part of the country and why it's important that we pay attention to what is happening there so that we don't have an escalation of that unfortunate incident in Delta State. Whether we like it or not, the Niger Delta region is very, very important to the survival of the country at this time. That's like the goose that lays the golden egg, whether we like it or not.
It must be protected.
It must be protected, really. And like you recounted brilliantly, Okoyemi, the late President Yar'Adua did a wonderful job bringing relative peace to that particular region with his amnesty program. Remember that the government of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, for me, did a bad job.
He went brutal.
It was brutal. And the consequences we saw, there was widespread insecurity in that region. There was kidnapping. There was unrest, oil theft.
Destruction of facilities.
IOCs could not even guarantee the safety of their expatriate workers, and all of that. And so that led to us losing a lot of money, a lot of resources. Our oil production went all-time low because of pipeline destructions and all of that, But Yar'Adua had a different idea. He brought in the amnesty program, and to a great extent, there was relative peace. Jonathan also came in. He was sustained.
He's from
that region. So the Buhari government, Okoma, Urhobo speaking community in Ughelli South local government, again, very sensitive if you understand how important the Niger Delta region is to Nigeria. I mean, very, very important that we tread softly. Very important that, again, all parties that are grieving and are outraged by what had happened also tread with caution, respect people's rights, and also of course, do whatever they want to do, understanding that we're a country governed by law. It's not a banana republic, and so that should be the guiding principle here.
Interesting conversation we'll have on the show today, and of course you can join us at some point. The phone lines are always open, but we'll tell you when exactly you'll be able to pick the call so that you can contribute. Okay, I would play you an insert now. It's the voice of Pᴏ an elder statesman, and someone who has been very, very vocal when it comes to agitating for the welfare of the people of the Niger Delta and of course Nigeria as a whole. And so we play you the insert. It's a sound bite. He's actually talking about he has his doubts. He said it's difficult to believe that mercenaries actually killed the soldiers, as against what the president of the Nigerian Senate, distinguished Senator Godswill actually said. So let's take a listen to what Pᴏ has to say. Then when we come back, we'll throw more light on his position and also put it side by side the position of Senator Godswill. Remember, Godswill was the governor of Akwa Ibom, an oil producing state, was the minister of Niger Delta when it was created, and of course now he's the Senate president. So I mean, it means that he's also a big voice when it comes to those conversations. So there's been a lot of backlash since he made that statement, linking that killing to mercenaries. And you ask yourself, if we know that there are mercenaries in here, how come we allow them to have such free hand to come carry out such a distasteful act? But let's listen to what Pᴏ has to say. You're live on Mainland 98.3 FM. It's Midweek Politics. My name is O꞉ᴏ Akinda, and of course Side Fuad is here live in the studio. We'll take you through some of these issues and more. Take a listen. We'll be right back.
Is to bring normalcy and redecorate. It's more difficult.
The general elections in 2023 have created conversations and consequences that will live with us for years to come. From the executive to the judiciary, legislature, media, and the people, organized labor, and civil society organizations, issues that will continue to shape the future of our country needs continuous probing and interrogation.
I see the greater objective for the party, and let me tell you, I've told the PDP in some locations that, gentlemen, be careful. Better men have founded parties that have gone into oblivion. Where's the party of Awolowo? Where's the party of Azikwe? Where's PRP of Rimi? Political parties must be nurtured, they must be reinvented, they must be true to their own
O꞉ᴏ Akinode and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland 98.3 FM for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies, and governance. Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
Thank you very much. Thank you. What happened is very shocking, very barbaric, wicked, and unforgivable. I think what is required, really, the military together with the communities, all of us should take it as a task to look for these people who committed this murder. It's very, very important. In fact, I'm so sad when I heard that Lieutenant Colonel Ali was involved, because on Thursday 14th morning, I spoke to him at 10:45 about my dead younger brother, Colonel Bernard Clark, retired, who died recently and was to be buried on Friday. And to have the military burial, a tradition to a burial, I had to contact him, and he told me that he was in a vehicle that he would speak to me later, only to hear that he was among. At that time, I thought he was speaking to me from Agbo in Delta State. There was another one is Major B. I spoke to him in Ugele about the same thing on Wednesday. So I'm indeed very, very, very sad that we should lose such a person, such people at a time. Even in the Boko Haram war, we have never lost soldiers like that. We all support Mr. President when he said the people should be looked for. And these satellite robot towns along the Fᴜဃᴜᴜ River Niger and the Jaws villages and communities, I've known them for a very long time. Okuama is between Akugbene town and Okoloba town. About 82 years ago, when I was in standard 2, I attended the same school with boys from from Okubama, boys from Okoloba, and boys from Akogbenè. So I knew the area very well. So I'm really sad that this should happen. Historically, they are the same ancestor. There was our ancestor called Mɪᴅ. I'm a Mɪᴅ descendant who had children who left to Gobri in Bayelsa State and settled along the river, Fᴜဃᴜ River. So most of the towns and villages along the Fᴜဃᴜ River, there were Mɪᴅ children. So there was the Kaladama, who was the most senior among them. Then you have Oge. He was the founder of Okoloba, and he was also the father of Ewu, which Baragolo, Okubama, Furukama, and Masoma, they are all descendants of Mɪᴅ. But when two persons live side by side, whether they are brothers or they are not, they are bound to have differences over land. So they have been having these cases for the past 50 years or 80 years. Nobody has gone to the extent of carrying out such type of heinous, wicked action. So I'm indeed very sorry that this should happen. Yeah. But we have a duty not allow this thing to escalate. We must all put our heads together. I was very happy when I listened to the governor of Delta State of his involvement in this matter. Well, my appeal to our gallant soldiers is that they should act maturely, and not to take the law into their own hand. I know they are provoked. We are all provoked, but that's not enough. They are innocent children, pregnant women everywhere. So, as far as I am concerned, should appeal to the military to take it easy. They have all the modern technology. They should be able to fish out very soon those who committed this crime. So, it's not against the ordinary citizens. One will be angry that such a thing did happen in a place. So one will not blame the army so much for whatever that must have happened. It's all collateral damages. What I'm saying, enough is enough. The military should sit back. We are all Nigerians, and those who must have been responsible for this, they are not many.
Okay, welcome back. That was Pa Edwin Clark, describing how shocking, wicked, barbaric, and unforgivable that killing, the murder of those 14 soldiers, was. It's quite unfortunate. And then you look at them and you ask yourself again, how well can this issue be handled? Yesterday, in the situation side, we looked at how traditional rulers can be made to show more commitment to restoring peace within their community, within their domain, within their subject, and even religious leaders. I've been privileged to stay in a couple of states within the north, and I see the kind of influence that religious leaders have, especially when it comes to the issue of election. A day to election, probably Friday, you just see one of the religious leaders just endorse a particular candidate, and that's it. I've seen it play out in a lot of places, even in churches on Sunday. You see, men of God inviting candidates into their churches. So if they could have this much influence when it comes to politics, why can't they use their influence to make sure that, hey, this is my domain and it must be peaceful? Oh, we'll talk about that as well. A lot of people have said some of the traditional rulers are compromised, they've gotten political, some of them got into office via political influence. Those are conversations for another day. But aside for that, even before we respond to what Pa Edwin Clark said, let's look at this issue. When you first saw it, I think, I saw it first on your status, and I'm like, this is not true. Even if I went on social media, I put call through to a friend of mine, guy, what's up? What am I? He said, that there's problem and all of that. And then the whole thing just went out, and everybody started seeing pictures and videos and stories. How did that make you feel?
Again, Okoyemi, there are things that you expect you would not see in this modern era. There are things that come so strangely that you continue to ask yourself, how did we get here? These are things that as a child we never witnessed. Really, these are stories that are coming out so bad that you continue to ask yourself, what has become of our society, you know, the value for human life. Whether we like it or not, these are also human beings. You can call them soldiers. You know, people always think that, oh, because they are soldiers, they deserve to die. Or because, oh, they are soldiers, death should not be something that should worry them or their families. The reality is that they are also human beings. They have benefactors, they have people who are waiting for them, they have wives, children, and people who also see them as their, their fathers, their husbands, and all of that. So they have a responsibility to those people too. And the fact that they are putting their lives on the line to protect the rest of us should mean that we have to respect that sacrifice, and that's why they are considered our national heroes. Now, again, you know, all of this started last week, Thursday precisely, and then by Friday the thing has started to, you know, generate some buzz on social media. But the OT started on Thursday, Friday, and by Saturday there were official statements
the full pictures, yes,
of what had happened. And you remember that the national headquarters of the Nigerian Army had first put out a tweet which they deleted, which was, "What audacity!" That was it. It was just in one line, "What audacity!" And then they put it down, and then there were other statements that now explained that, look, the Nigerian Army had lost 16 military personnel. Eventually, when the list came out, it happened to be 17. You know, one of them, a lieutenant colonel, who was the commanding officer. You had 2 majors, you had 2, I think 1 captain, and other soldiers of different rank and file. And everyone, as a journalist, I had to put out information. You know, wanted to know, because you can't work with stories and innuendos and speculations and all of that. You need to get the fact. And I was like, how could it have happened? And truly, it was, you could ask yourself, what audacity really? You know, a particular community fighting with another community over land. You know, a group of soldiers had gone in there to keep the peace, and then they were murdered in that manner. Gruesomely, it was completely barbaric, to the extent that the reports were that, look, some of them had been beheaded. And again, we are talking about these soldiers. Before now, there were also reports some few weeks ago about the killing of some policemen. In fact, in that same Ughelli community, about 6 police officers' dead bodies had been found from a grave, a very shallow grave, within that same community. So that ordinarily shows that there had been trouble within that area. So what just comes to mind again is that, look, this is a failure of governance again that we've been talking about, in being able to manage security, in being able to quickly resolve crisis before it becomes a big problem. And then we ask ourselves, now, where do we go from here? The army authorities, the Nigerian army authorities, are outraged as we speak. I think the only government official that has been allowed into that community is the governor of Delta State. Basically,
so we don't have an idea of what may be going on in the community.
The consequences of what had happened, I think it's better imagined, because again, we have precedents, we have things that we can look at as to the possibility of what would have happened in that community, or what may be going on, because as it is, no media outlet has come out to say, look, I've been given access into that community. You know, as at Monday morning, I've spoken to a number of our friends who are media people on ground, and what they said was that the whole place had been cordoned off, and that maybe they discovered that you can't even go there. You know,
for them to even discover you're a journalist.
So you know, everybody has stayed away. What is being said is that, look, a lot of the people within that community that were able to escape before the army came back are in neighboring communities. Some of them are in the bush, some of them are scattered. You know, it's a very sad situation. So that is the story, and I think that this is the time for us to now call for caution. What has happened has happened. It was completely avoidable. But again, you don't create a bigger problem trying to solve a problem. Yes, what happened in that community is completely condemnable. We're not going to work with innuendos and speculations. It doesn't make any sense to say, oh, maybe it was this. There's no maybe anywhere. What we have from the authorities now is that, look, as directed by the president, who has done the right thing.
I was going to talk about that directive.
You know, the president has done the right thing. Because again, you know, the military is not just to protect the territorial integrity of the country. They are also your symbol of sovereignty. That's what people don't know. You know, it's not just when they say, oh, there's a way they respect army, the police, and all of that. You know, that uniform is not ordinary cloth. It in itself shows that there's a country. Immediately your military goes down, there's no country.
Your country is off.
You know, so the president had done the right thing by directing that, look, you have my full authority to go after the criminals and bring them to justice, which is in itself what the CNC a responsible citizen would do. Because again, he has to show solidarity, he has to show support and capacity for the military, and that's the right thing the president has done. But again, we have to talk about the possibility of blind rage and then collective punishment, which we are saying that, look, we expect our military authorities to be very professional, to also respect human rights, because again, in this community, whether we like it or not, I'm sure we'll have elderly people. If the young ones are able to carry their things and run out, what about
those elderly people want to
where are they going to run to? I'm sure there are women too. I'm sure there are pregnant women too. I'm sure that community will also have health facilities where people are already admitted, taking treatments for different things. And then what about the children?
With drips?
Because somebody was asking again, we need to ask ourselves, if this community is displaced now from what we are getting, again, no media outfit have said that, look, they've been granted access into that place. Do we have an IDP camp set for them? Are they sheltered somewhere? The governor of Delta State, after meeting with the president and going into that place, has nothing really to tell anybody. If you look at him, his statement was so blank. Here's a man that I'm sure is also managing information. I'm sure what he has seen, he cannot even say. Because all he said was that he had gone into the community and that, look, they were after the killers. It was a barbaric act. But he really did not paint the picture of what he had seen on ground. Most likely, because again, the only thing we have seen is on social media. Houses on fire. And then, of course, the military issuing statements that, look, they are after the killers. And that, look, the most complicated part of it, that they must, and that is like one of the rules of engagement for the military, all of the weapons belonging to those service rifles,
you must recover everything.
How do you recover without collateral damage?
It's tough. I mean, let me quickly take this paragraph from the statements on the killings of the Nigerian soldiers on a peacekeeping mission at Okwama community in Delta State. The defense headquarters and chief of defense staff have been granted full authority to bring to justice anybody found to have been responsible for this questionable crime against the Nigerian people. Signed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on the 17th of March 2024. So this is where my own concerns comes from. Said Fuad, you made mention of something very key there, which is collateral damage, which is collective punishment.
Yes.
The military moving into those communities and just even without getting any order, as against what Olusegun Obasanjo did to the community, even without getting orders from the president to say maybe flatten this one, maybe go and all of that, we know the weight of that particular quote I just read now, giving full authority to
do whatever
investigate.
You can.
And in that situation, how do you want to carry out these investigations? I know for one, the chances of any of the guys responsible for the killing remaining in that community is zero. How do you even identify the people that did the killing? Is it that somebody will point them and say, I was there when this person was slaughtering the soldier, or I was there when this person was shooting at the major? How do you even put all of that? The rifles that have been taken from those people,
service rifles,
how do you recover those things? My fears are speculations will start to fly out now, especially with the fact that the media does not have access to the whole area. Speculations start flying out. There were some videos that was posted. In fact, the presidential presidential candidate of African National Congress, ᴜᴜᴜ, posted that video and deleted it because nobody could authenticate, the genuinity of that video. But after all said and done, what does this say to you about the respect that Nigerians have for the military? Because I listened to Mr. Femi Falana on Tuesday on national TV, and he was talking about the fact that why should the government send soldiers to a community, to a communal clash, a place where it's just
about internal security.
Police can go in, just like the one we had at Mɪᴅ-ᴡᴇᴇ many years ago. Police can go in and mediate, and everybody will go in peace. Why should you send armed men into such it's like a parlor fight, and you're bringing a pump action into it? But without, let me use the word of the soldiers of the Nigerian military, that audacity to, whether it's an ambush or whatever it is,
had happened,
what does that say about the respect that Nigerians have for our military formation? You gone out those days when you say a soldier approach, there's this fear. It looks like all of that is gone.
You know, Okoyemi, when we talk about the Nigerian military, it's the same thing we say when we talk about our traditional rulers. As a young boy, Okoyemi, you hardly see soldiers. You don't even see them.
You can't see them.
So once in a while when they come out, you know, there's that fear, there's that respect. People revere them because they are not the regular things you see. The only time we see them is that maybe they're having a regular routine of training, maybe they are jogging around, or there's a special mission or there's a special training, and that does not really even happen in town. You know, you see them in the bush, and the only thing we know of the military at that time is that look, when there's a war situation,
you see them,
they call them kill and go. They just go there to do what they want to do and go. But over the years, Okoyemi, and I think this also has to go back to the years of military regime. The rank and file of the military have been politicized. There are accusations of corruption to the extent that look, they are now too available. They are too exposed. You know, they are. You know, it's not like what we used to know of the military. The other parties that look, they are now too much involved in everything and anything. You know, they are almost like overstretched. Any little thing happens, you have a deployment of the military. Anything happens, a deployment of the military in all parts of the country. Yeah.
As of today,
yes.
Before I came on air, we have 16 code operations going on in Nigeria at the moment.
As led by the military.
There is Operation Save Heaven. There is Lafia Dole.
So many operations, special operations,
and every of those requires thousands of men being mobilized to that particular location.
Those areas. So you now ask yourself, all of these issues we are talking about, only a few of those operations have a semblance of external aggression. Probably maybe what is happening in the northeast and some parts of the northwest part of the country, and maybe some parts of the north central. You say, okay, maybe there are colorations of external aggression. Every other issue has to do with internal security. Now you ask yourself, where is the police in all of this? Because again, you have the mobile units, you have the policemen and all of that, but the reality is that look, you know, we're people who just like to deceive ourselves. We see the truth, we continue to hide from it, we play on words, we are good with painting pictures of what is not the reality on ground and all of that. As it is, I think the most ineffective, and which is supposed to be the most effective for internal security, is the police. But in structure, training, remuneration, command, the police has been so decimated to the point where nobody respects them. Just some few hours ago on TV, I was listening to one of the traditional rulers, I think from somewhere in Bayelsa State or Rivers State, on TV. He was on an interview, and what he said is that look, nobody respects the police again. Talking about the police have not been able to have a handle on it. So the most effective has now been the military, which is against the commandate of the military, which is supposed to be the defense of the territorial integrity of the country, decimation of structure, standard and practice of the police.
Carrying bags
for VIPs, holding umbrellas for people you don't even know their source of wealth,
serving as escort to trucks,
you know,
coming to Lagos.
Some of them. So you look at the Nigerian police and you know that look, we are not just a serious people when it comes to fixing this.
But now that, let's even say,
yes,
that people, honorable men, of course you would expect those bad eggs that continues to tarnish the image of the police. But now the ones that are even supposed to be more feared in quotes than the police are now being attacked, and this is not the first time. We've seen where military formations are being, I mean, what are we saying? What are we saying? Did you not see where agencies shot fellow officers to allow a bandit to escape?
Yes,
we've seen all of these things in Zamfara State. But now let's go back to what Pᴏʟɪᴛ said. So we link it to what the Senate president said. What do you make of what Pᴏʟɪᴛ said? He first talked about the fact that these are communities that have been together for hundreds of years.
Historical that look, they have the same ancestry.
As a little
despite the differences in language, he said, look, there's one ancestry for all of these communities. As a young boy, he had friends in almost all of these, and the way he was naming them, you know that these are communities that are intertwined. Right? They enter into each other. Yes, difference in language, you know, you have the Robo speaking, the Just speaking, and other languages around. But from what Pᴏʟɪᴛ said, who's probably one of the most prominent and vocal leaders of the Niger Delta, that look, these are communities that are almost logged into one another, and there's the same ancestry. So it's the same thing. He said they are all the same, you know. So that part of it is what beats me. And Okoyemi, you asked the question when we started the show, the role of traditional rulers. And when we say traditional rulers, we also have to ask ourselves, where are the elders of the land? You know, when young people don't know the consequences of these things, one would expect that the leaders are supposed to call them in, rein them in, and explain to them that, look, you are playing with fire. You know, sometimes children, out of overzealousness, lack of understanding of history, may go into some of these things. Look, don't be surprised, Okoyemi, that some of the people who perpetrated this crime were young people, too young to know what happened in Odi, in Bayelsa State. Some of them may be too young to know what happened in Zakibia. We are not glorifying what happened in, but
those are realities. Those are references.
That's a part of our history that we can learn from. And then, if you knew what happened at that time, would you even get close to having a reputation of that unfortunate incident? So what I see is a situation where the elders too are compromised. Okoyemi, the traditional rulers are also compromised, because look, it was a communal clash on land. It is always better to judge than war. One would have thought that, look, you know, the political leaders, the senators, the House of Reps members, assembly members, local government chairmen, traditional rulers would have been able to call this people and say, look, the land belongs to every one of us. We are still you know, of the same ancestry. We can always find a way to resolve this. But you know, the story was that, look, they have been killing between the two communities. Like 3 other persons were killed from Okolova or something, and then Okoma was planning you know, to also attack. And so it's been a back and forth between these two communities. And the question I ask myself is this: if you also listen to Pᴏ Clark very well, he mentioned the name, that's the Lieutenant Colonel Ali, that's the commanding officer that was killed, and somebody knows that even on Thursday he had put a call through to him about one of his own siblings who is also a military officer that had died, and they were expecting to organize a state burial, like a proper military burial for the person. So the fact that they know him, and not only him, other people within that battalion, it's called the Amphibious Battalion, are also known to the community. So they've integrated into the community, they know them. So how did we get to man?
By law, is the number 3 man of the country. Available, the vice president is available.
Takes charge.
He takes charge as acting capacity. And in the last few months, Godswill Akpabio is just like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He knows how to drop those quotes that's from the old. Remember the old off the mic. Remember when he was in the Senate that they were investigating the acting director of the NDDC,
Professor Ponde,
and then the words started coming out, and then Godswill Akpabio went on with the off the mic. He's also talked about the fact that, oh, you will receive your prayers in your emails. You understand? He's also talked about the fact that governors have been giving 30 billion naira,
which he said it was
from an unconfirmed source, a sitting Senate president. Now he's come out to say that he thinks that these people may not be from Niger Delta, that they could be mercenaries. So the question is aside forward: if this happened in Zamfara, for instance, would Godswill Akpabio talk about the fact that those people are not from Zamfara, that they could be from Chad Republic, they could be from Niger Republic, or is this, oh, these are my people, I need to protect the interest of my people, but at the detriment of the 17 people that have been killed? My worry is this: the utterances of public office holders. And then when I looked at the feedback or the cover up that Godswill Akpabio wants to do, he's talking about the fact that what he said was taken out of proportion in the social media, and then he's gone back to the conversation of regulating social media. What has this got to do with regulating social media? You're known for always dropping quotes that often doesn't particularly align with the reality of things that are on ground, and you're supposed to have so much within your disposal when it comes to gathering information, processing those information, even if they are mercenaries. A case is still being investigated. What authority do you have
to throw it out?
You're not the spokesperson of the Senate. You're not the spokesperson of the presidency. What authority do you have as a Senate president to come give such a statement? It's an umbrella statement. It's so blank, and
so that blatant generalization.
The hasty generalization does not really make so much sense when you look at the perspective of what is on ground right now. But well, it's funny because it takes us back to the conversation of resource control. sensitivity of the Okwama community within the Ughelisa local government Ibomadi is so key that one of the longest crude pipeline that we have in Nigeria
is on that stretch. River area.
It's a very sensitive hotbed where it's not just today. A lot of militants have been killed on that axis by the virtue of tapping into pipelines, diverting crude and all of that. I really hope that the government should be committed enough to do a thorough investigation on this. And we're also appealing to the Nigerian military. We understand, hey, you don't take majors. In fact, even if it's ordinary private,
even if it's
rank or whatever it is that they are, the life of these people are as important as the life of the president of this country. The life of these people are as important as the life of you and I sitting in this studio. The life of these people are important as the people listening to us right now, which is quite unfortunate. We condemn the killing. And then we also join hands to appeal to the military. The same thing that Pᴏ Clark said. Please, temper justice.
We can't go on a blind rage.
We can't.
You shouldn't do that.
We can't. It's just going to make a lot of things, it's really unfortunate. But
again, Okwemi, on the issue of the Senate president. Again, these are sensitive. Again, it's not just any other person. We're talking about the number 3 man. And people would assume that, look, as the number 3 person in the country, you will have access to some classified information, whether we like it or not. Yes, it's not just the president. As the number 3 man, there are things that you know that the ordinary person out there would not know. So when you say something, people would naturally feast on it. Okay, just like when he said that there's this unconfirmed report that the governors are getting like 30 billion. You can't, as the number 3 man, you can't even work with an unconfirmed report. Because again, people are going to take it seriously that, there must be something to what he's actually saying. The governors start
coming out to defend themselves. I watched the interview of Governor
what's this, where this coming from? Is this politics or what? So when you now, again, people are now saying that it's possible, it's not possible, it's mercenaries. It's still a very sensitive issue. Look, that particular community is still regarded as a militarized zone, a crime scene as we speak. And so that might be the justification for calling it off from too much access so that people don't tamper with evidence and all of that. If you understand the way some of these things work. At the time when the military is still doing its own investigation, probably going around communities trying to see what they can gather, making arrests. We have had that 3 persons have been arrested and taken to the military headquarters and all of that. That information, that particular statement of the possibility of it being the handiwork of mercenaries and all of that is so unnecessary.
Even Pᴏ Clark said
it's unnecessary. That's number 1. Number 2, the Senate president didn't talk as the leader of the country. As the Senate president, you are the Senate president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not the Senate president of the Niger Delta region. So in your utterance, in your position,
your body language,
you must have that national outlook to issues. Because these are my people. Yes, we understand that they are people. They are also our own people. The Niger Delta people are my own brothers. They are Nigerians. We are the same. And that's what we're supposed to preach. And so for it to have decided to make it like a regional thing, as if he was speaking for the people of Niger Delta, yes, it's good to say that, look, this is strange. Like Pᴏ Clark said, that, look, it's shocking to them that because they live amongst these people. There are different military operations going on where they know them. They work with the community work with them. And so this is strange. It would have been so brilliant for the Senate president if he had left it that, look, we call for restraints from the military authorities
while the investigation is still going on, and then we'll close shop.
But for you to now say, it could be the handiwork of mercenaries.
That's a needless diversion.
Mercenaries, remember that mercenaries don't do this thing for free.
So if you say mercenaries, who brought them in?
Who paid them?
Who mobilized them? How did they come in? How did they go out?
So it's really very unfortunate when you have leaders that you expect to be able to raise the bar when it comes to public speaking, and they keep dropping the ball the way the Senate president keeps doing it. And yesterday, he got what he was looking for because immediately he dropped the ball that way. The social media took it up, and L was let loose that people are going to now disinform. they are going to distort the information. And what they did was not to even say maybe again. They said, oh, the Senate president said this was the work of mercenaries. And he also yesterday responded. Immediately he had to come back, after some break during plenary and said that, oh, there's something trending on social media. They've quoted him out of context. Oh, was that what he was saying? He was only saying people should take it careful that it could be the work of mercenaries. Where did the mercenary people come into this conversation? And here we are today. The mess is there for him to clean. So again, public speaking is about uncommon wisdom,
especially if you're a political office holder,
because
people hold your words.
It's not a beer parlor conversation. It's not
a newspaper stand conversation.
You are the number 3 person, and people are going to take your words seriously.
More so that the Senate is even still in the eye of the storm in respect to the whole padding,
the integrity issues about the National Assembly, and all of that. So it's unfortunate, but again, I think the final take for me on this issue is that we should call for restraint. We should also, I think the president, the governor of Delta State met with the president yesterday, and I'm sure he would have been able to paint the picture of what he saw. It was a closed door meeting, and I'm sure that allowed him to really give the president some very useful information as to what had happened. And I think what the president will be doing now is that, yes, I've given you full authority, but it must be done within the ambit of the law. Protect women, protect children, protect the elderly and other innocent person within the community, because even in a war situation, there's always the rule of engagement.
Sure,
you have to understand that there are rules of engagement, and most importantly, I think that for us to fight this distortion, we say it in PR. If you want to fight propaganda, which is military is accusing the community of, you fight it with facts. And how do you get the facts out there? Give access to media outfits to go into those communities so that we can have proper information as to what is happening. It can't just be a linear angle to the issue, because the only information we're getting as to what is happening in those communities now is only from the military, and that in itself is a problem. The media organizations around those areas must be allowed access into that community, because even in war situations, in Ukraine you have journalists who are still doing their job. Even in Gaza, as we speak today, people are still doing their job. Coverage is going on, and to a great extent, pressmen, media men, personnel are respected. And again, of course, there's always a guide to it. You can't get here, this is a militarized zone, but at least let people go in there to know what is happening, because as it is now, nobody has access. The only person that has been granted access as a public official I know of is the governor of the state. And the man has not been able to say waiting I don't see.
There are some things that I will see, even if you're an eye with. You look away.
You close the eyes.
You close it. Hopefully, the people involved, both the community leaders and then the opinion leaders and then the military, everybody would have, one purpose, which is to unravel whoever, whether mercenaries or the people of the community behind the killings. That's the most important thing. Yes. We keep you abreast of this particular information or this particular situation, and then give you whatever information you need to know about it. Let's put that aside. Let's talk about INEC's position. I remember on Monday, I had the special advisor to the media to the state governor in the situation room, and then we looked at how the government were able to quickly put under control the security issues that was brewing in that state, the killing of the traditional rulers, the kidnapping of the primary school pupils in Mɪᴅ and all of that. And it talks about the fact that the government went straight to have meetings with traditional rulers, the Obas in Ekiti, and says, hey, whatever happens in your domain, I'm going to hold you responsible for it. And that kind of brought some sanity into that space, because for every community there's someone that is in charge.
There's a leadership structure.
There's a leadership structure that is everywhere. And expectedly, as a traditional ruler or an opinion leader, you should have your eyes and ears everywhere. People pick information on the streets, at the marketplace, and then they bring it to your palace, and then you process those information and you push it to the right authorities. That's what we'd expect. Hopefully all of that will sort itself out. But INEC is complaining about the fact that infighting within political parties, parallel primaries, are wasting the resources of INEC. And perhaps it's trying to explain why we keep having off-cycle elections every year. In 2022, it was Osun and Ekiti. In 2023, there was general election, but in November there was Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa. This year in September, there's going to be an election in Edo State, and in November there will be election in Ondo State. All of those elections are gubernatorial elections. Of course, we had by-elections very recently into some senatorial seats, House of Reps for Surulere and all of that. And a lot of people had questioned that we spent too much money. I remember the supplementary budget of last year, 18 billion was actually set aside for those off-cycle elections in those three states. 18 billion. That's a lot of money. You look at the budget of INEC for every election year, you look at all of this, but the INEC chairman is coming out and say that infighting and parallel primaries are wasting the resources of INEC. We saw what happened in Edo State, where they are going deputy governor and declared himself the candidate of the PDP after there was a parallel primaries, and then 24 hours later the PDP itself came out to declare someone else and says, hey, Ighodalo is the candidate of the party, and there's back and forth. Now on those state also, we are keeping our fingers crossed. It's next month, and then of course everybody's speaking, the governor is already talking and all of that. How would you process these concerns from INEC? Remember, INEC did not get the best of regards after the last presidential election. There were a lot of issues, especially with result transmission, access to these numbers. Do you think there's legitimacy in the claim of INEC chairman?
I think so. Okay, for whatever anybody thinks about the INEC chairman or what INEC has done so far with elections in Nigeria, we can have this long debate of whether this is the worst INEC ever. But I was in I witnessed INEC during the Obasanjo era. I also witnessed INEC during the Jonathan era.
That's Maurice Iwu.
I saw Maurice Iwu INEC, and I know what happened during Maurice Iwu election.
And we saw Jega as well.
And we saw Jega, and then of course Professor Mahmoud Yakub. Now, the reality is that we need serious electoral reforms, and these electoral reforms, I think, would naturally help to whip people back to line, to be able to behave properly. I think that our politicians have refused to just behave themselves, to behave properly when it comes to doing simple things as conducting primaries, nominating candidates for elections and all of that. Ab initio, that's where the whole manipulation starts. And of course, Edo State gave us a classic example of how badly behaved our politicians are. If you have three major parties all having primaries and having multiple candidate declared winner, I should tell you that the political class is not just ready to behave themselves. They really don't want to follow the rule of law. They have their own intentions. They understand the weaknesses of our electoral process. They understand,
and exploiting it.
So they just exploit it. At the point of planning and campaign, they also have people who do all of that with them. Just do this, hopefully we'll go to court and all of that. And to be fair to INEC, internal party issues, INEC really don't have a say
at all.
That's what people don't know. Simple. When it comes to internal party conflicts and all of that, in fact, that's why you see that sometimes, at the last minute, INEC would have to reprint some documents
because of name change.
Because the courts will now just rule, and then they have to, begin to now reproduce some documents and all of that because of court judgments that may come at the last minute. And all of that, and that's as a result of the fact that our politicians don't want to play by the rules. They know the rules, but they know the loopholes within the rules. They understand the lacuna, and they just play to it, and then they end up in court. And what the INEC chairman has also said yesterday, is that a lot of times when these internal party conflicts gets to court, INEC is always a party to the suit. They must drag INEC along. So, and when they drag them, there must be representation for INEC. It has to be a lawyer. It's not just the INEC officials sometimes that stand as witnesses. There has to be a lawyer to represent the interests of INEC in those cases. And those things don't happen till they have to pay them. So, all in all, I think that, that's why some of us think that, yes, we're going to have this off-cycle election. It's too close for anything to happen. But I think that, before 2027, and I'm surprised that organized labor, civil society organizations, even political parties, especially in the opposition, because again, the ruling party may not think it's important to tinker with electoral law because probably they're in power and the status quo may favor them. But opposition political parties, especially the PDP, I'm surprised that it's not even a priority for them. That we cannot go into 2027 and conduct elections the way we conducted it in 2023. It will be a complete waste of time. Even as a journalist, I'm praying and hoping that we will not have to monitor 2027 election, seeing what we saw in 2023. You understand what I'm saying? I'm praying that, look, on election day as journalists, will go out there, see people cast their ballot, see it count, have a seamless process, have elections declared maybe a few hours after elections have been cast.
And everybody will go.
You know, that's what we want to see, so that we can also send in reports, and not the one that was saying, oh, you saw what you knew how we were clashing into one another during the coverage. You know, we got to Mɪᴅ-ᴡᴇᴇ, ballot papers were flying around.
That was chaos.
Iirsᴛ was the other computer device. Candida was there. Ballot boxes were flying up and
ballot
down.
papers inside.
And then you have people whose head have been broken. So I don't want to go out on elections day and begin to have that feed the studio with that kind of report. I want to go out there and say, oh, people have arrived earlier at their polling units, the process is going on seamlessly, people are casting, and winners have been declared early. And then we also want to see a situation where we have an electoral process where the court cases are so limited and not as huge. We are not the largest democracy in the world. No. India is the largest democracy in the world, but when they conduct their elections, less than 10% of the entire process goes to court. They don't even declare work free. They just do their thing. People
cast their ballot and their life continues.
We are hoping that, look, our politicians, because again, it's difficult to beg our politicians to live for causes greater than their own personal interest. It's difficult really to get them to understand that. But maybe, because again, all of these reforms we are talking about is still, the core responsibility of our National Assembly. To look at our electoral process and
cover up those lacunas.
Irrespective of what they think is their own political interest and all of that, so that we can run this country, so that good people can get into positions of authority
and bring development
and turn things around for the country.
Good. Well, whatever it is that INEC is raising concerns for, it's a body that is properly funded, and I'm hoping that political parties will also align. In fact, if you've been following the conversation around the Labour Party and the Nigerian Labour Congress, the last 24 hours
between the NLC and the Labour Party.
In short, when I was walking to the studio now,
I saw to picket all of the Labour Party.
I saw a breaking news that the National Secretariat of the Labour Party had been taken over by the Nigerian Labour Congress.
It's not even that. They said all the LP offices should be under lock and key by NLC.
So let's see, the body responsible for championing the cause of the welfare issues of the Nigerian workers, maybe now they want to go full blown and become a full political party. Let's see how all of that would also work out. Just like Said Fuad said, actually all of the people that are supposed to raise objective criticism for the ruling party, the PDP is facing its own issue. One of the chairmanship aspirants, Tᴜɪ̀ᴛᴛᴇʀ still took the party to court and asking them why they've not called for a congress. The Labour Party is having issues with Julius Abure. There's also the Lamidi Papa faction. There's the NLC issue again, back and forth. The PDP is having an acting national chairman. The Labour Party, we don't know if it's Apapa today, if it's Abure tomorrow.
This is the most disorganized opposition I've ever seen in the history of Nigeria.
The opposition does not exist.
And unfortunately, this is not even the time for the opposition to be so disorganized.
This is time for them to have a formidable voice and speak.
Because you have a ruling party that has a president that understands politics like the back of his hand. This is not the time for the soul of the nation, for the opposition to be organized. It's a completely non-existent, disorganized opposition we have at this time.
It pains me. And that's just the fact. So let's hope that INEC will sort all of these issues, and because sometimes when you look at the process of some of these primaries, we've seen where a political party will win an election and then the court will say, oh, it was not the rightful faction that produced the candidate, so you lose, and then the party that came second will become governor. We saw it played out in San Francisco. It almost happened in Rivers State. Rotimi became governor
without even being on the ballot
at all. So all of these things happen, and I'm hoping that when we talk about electoral laws and reforms, it's not just the primaries alone. It's not just the general election alone. It goes down to party primaries, the party political structure,
candidates, party primaries.
Because the internet democracy is also or must also be enshrined in the fiber of the party politics, so that everybody's opinion would count. I've always faulted the whole idea of the indirect primaries, where less than 2,000 people, some of them are allegedly being mobilized. That's the word.
But the direct primaries too, because again, yes, the direct primaries is supposed to give all party members a say in who emerges as candidate.
Isn't that what democracy is about?
It's beautiful, okay? But I have witnessed the so-called direct primaries.
I saw the one of Osun in 2022.
You see, and the counting process. You see somebody jump from 200 to 300. So sometimes I don't know.
It's 2:00, so let's switch over to Ondo politics. We guaranteed you and we promise you that all of the build up in respect to both off-cycle elections will give you 100% or nothing on every of our political spaces, from Sunday 6 to 8 p.m. on Political Roundtable, Situation Room, every day of the week, Mondays to Fridays, yes, 4 to 5:30, or Big Politics. Even in our news, you get to know every update you need to know about this. Now, everybody's coming out to state the side of the coin they belong to, and almost everybody is coming out with claims that the immediate past governor, Mɪᴅ-ᴜᴇᴇᴜ, endorsed them as governor of the state in 2025. Fᴜᴟ is the former president of the Nigerian Akeredolu endorsed me. Everybody knew he was going to be the candidate. Even Lọ́kàídàtiwa is saying that Akeredolu will be happy. Ideally, for every democratic process, you should have a platform where you come and talk to the people what you want to do for them. Not trying to fly on the wall of one person endorsed you. We've talked about the issue of political godfatherism around here. So if you are perhaps it's because Akeredolu's political structure is still reported to be still standing, and is being spearheaded by Madam Betta Akeredolu, the wife of the late governor. And a lot of people are coming up with different agenda. 괘ᴜᴜ also came out and said that, the governor knows my capacity, that's why it's giving me a lot of responsibility. The deputy, now the governor is also saying my principal will be happy to see me, succeeding.
Wale said he was a substantive candidate.
Everybody seems to want to ride on the wave of Akeredolu because he's not with us, he's no more. Do you see this affecting the, how do I put it now, the political conversation that you'd expect to have as a build up to the election? We want issue-based campaigns. We want campaigns based on credibility, based on capability to deliver your competence. What do you think the Ondo State people need as priority? Those are the things that we expect to set the conversation, and this will definitely happen after the primaries. What do you think all of this endorsement or no endorsement would strip the people of Ondo State the right conversation leading into the gubernatorial election?
Well again, Okoyemi, this conversation is the way we play politics here, because again, you want to ask yourself, the late Rotimi Akeredolu SAN, God bless his soul, is no more, and one would think that our politicians would have moved on in the sense that it should now be about this is what I want to do for the people. The late Rotimi Akeredolu has done what he wants to do. He's done his own bit of it all, and this is the time to allow the man rest. I keep finding it funny when they throw this conversation into the, although there are people who want to take advantage of his political structure, but I know from experience that your structure is only potent politically when you are alive. Let's be adults here. In politics in Nigeria, in fact, sometimes you discover that your political structure, even if you are alive, is only potent where you are in position of authority. The moment you step down from that position of authority, everything withers down. There's people just look at you and say, because again, but how much more a man that is not even alive as we speak? So I don't think his political structure is that potent again. But again, our politicians like to ride on sentiment. Even I've seen Jimoh Ibrahim talking about Rotimi Akeredolu. I say, what's the relationship? How did we get?
They hardly ever see eye to eye when Akeredolu was alive.
So I'm like, Jimoh Ibrahim now, although he has his own, I was seeing his campaigns and all of that, he's also doing his own thing. But if you ask me, really, that's within the APC. The PDP also have their own conversation, even though
Jagede is back on the picture now. His pictures are flying everywhere.
You see the problem? These are people, they do what you call this for 4 years. Every 4 years. Where has Itai Jagede been since losing the last election?
He was representing Atiku in court.
So does that mean he should have shut down his campaign structure in Ondo State? Where was he in the conversation? Even when there was this conversation as to, do the right thing, Akeredolu should have handed over.
The opposition were not saying nothing.
It was APC fighting APC. Now, elections are very close to how many months? Itai Jagede is back. And then, if he's not careful, he probably, because of his influence within the PDP,
will pick the ticket
and then have a very poor showing.
And that will be his third time.
So that's why I said this is the most disorganized opposition we have. Because even apart from at the federal level,
even at the state level,
there's nothing. Look at this again to what is happening in Osun State. Do you know the APC in Osun State is neck to neck with the ruling PDP there? They keep putting them on their toes. They're always talking. They are not. You understand? Even the man at the secretary at the federal level of the APC, he has not left his Oshogbo base, his Osun base. He's always there. He's in contact with the APC people, and they are doing what the opposition should do. Put that against what the APC even did when the PDP was in power. We knew how on a daily basis they were keeping them on their toes. There was a press release almost on a daily basis from Mr. Alhaji Lai Mohammed. But the PDP is now so blank. They are so confused. You ask yourself now, you see a Wike who is still telling you he's a PDP member. Even seeing the governor Seyi Makinde sitting amongst PDP governors to take PDP decisions still beats me. These were people who had anti-party activities during the election.
How much do you think all of this would affect Aketi's legacy?
Yes.
And this is what I mean. You may not like Aketi. You may not like his style of leadership. There are times allegations where they say it does not. A friend of mine that lectures at Rufus Giwa Polytechnic War says that sometimes they get owed 6 months salary, then they come pay 20% of every month and all of that. There are a lot of issues with civil servants, and all of that. But on the issue of security, the way Amotekun was established, was pushed, was funded, was a lot. A lot of it has to do with Akeredolu. And if you look at that, especially since after the unfortunate massacre in Owo, which happens to be his hometown, by the way.
Yes, yeah.
If you look at that period, there seems to be some level of calmness and sanity around the southwest. Ondo State, Oyo State, Ekiti, they share the same thing with the whole Amotekun thing. I'm not sure if Osun State totally embraced it, Ogun State as well, but if you notice where trouble started up again, it was that 1 year where Akeredolu was not able to function as the governor of the state while he was away for the medical issues and all of that. But all of this endorse me, don't endorse me. The political dragging, his wife, making tweet upon tweet, casting aspersion on the members of the APC, even dragging our family members into it and all of that. How much of Aketi's legacy do you think will survive this storm? And what if somebody that does not particularly align with the dynasty of Aketi wins the governorship election, or the PDP wins the election, or the Labour Party wins the election? What does this do to the legacy of Aketi?
Well, again, I've said it to you. Aketi has done his own bit, and he's gone for good. God rest his soul. It's unfortunate that you have people still, of course, propping up and talking about Aketi and does this and all of that. He's done what he can do, really. His wife, interestingly, is an interesting character. Mrs. Betty Akeredolu is just, she's what she is, really.
Very interesting.
Very interesting character. The way she talks, even the tribute to her husband, we all read it, and that's probably the most interesting tribute
I've ever read.
For
like in the midst of a
storm,
the shades were still going on.
So you understand that now that the husband has been buried and she now has enough time to pick up the battle against her supposed enemies. I think she's just all out. She's not resting, really. She's not resting. She doesn't even look like someone that will rest.
And the way she's going, it looks like the sitting governor is the number one enemy.
But let me now tell you, people are going to tell her history. They're going to tell her what she wants to hear.
They're already telling Olusola because Olusola wife also is from the southeast.
Okay.
So they're saying that we're not going to have the trauma that we had with Aketi to also
you took the words out of my mouth. People are going to tell her in Ondo State that, madam, you're not even from this state. So you can't be giving us trouble. And you know, when she made an attempt to go to Imo State, you know what happened? They sent her back to Ondo State. You know, so and Ondo people will tell her
that
is that's another
that man is
character.
Something else.
You know, so I think the woman should just. I think what she should supposed to be doing now is to honor the legacy of her husband. Maybe have a foundation.
She has a foundation, breast cancer survivor.
Maybe something also in the name of the husband. Find a way to fund that and continue to prop that up. You know, to keep the legacy of her husband. You know, I think that she would have to learn to stay away from Ondo politics, because for how long is she going to remain relevant, really? For how long is she going to remain relevant? The only relevance is because she was the wife of the governor.
She's not being referred to as the former.
And anything former politically. If you don't behave yourself,
you are former.
They will put you where you belong. And I think she would understand that, because again, the only respect she's getting now is because people are still hoping to get one or two things, and they understand that the political structure of the Aketi movement is still a bit potent and vibrant. But at the end of the day, our politicians have a way of putting people where they belong, and I'm sure that's going to happen to her at the right time if she does not behave herself. Now, for the APC, I said it the last time when we had this conversation about Ondo State. Money is going to play a very vital role in who emerges. Abuja would also play a role, Opeyemi. Because again, if you look at what happened in Edo State between Honorable Dennis Idahosa and Senator Monday of Pawolo, people had thought that, look, it was going to be fight to finish. But look at the way, and that's why I keep saying that this is not the time for the opposition to be this disorganized.
Well, the president seems to be ahead of everybody.
The president came in, stepped into the issue. Today, we have the person propping Honorable Idahosa now also talking about working together. I'm talking about Senator Adams Oshiomhole.
Yes. The president asked him, "Are we good to go?" He said yes.
Yes.
Are we on the same page? He said yes.
And that's it.
And there was an immediate adoption of Honorable Idahosa as the running mate to Senator Monday.
So it everything. Although in politics, Opeyemi, what we say in the morning
can be different from what we say in the night.
So sometimes you have people say, "Oh, okay, yes, I agree," and then on elections they do something else. We are hoping that, well, for the APC, let's hope that indeed they are all committed to the candidature of Senator Monday, because you know politicians, these deals can come. They just look at it and I'm like, it's
the options.
Because again, let me tell you this, Opeyemi. If you look at Honorable Dennis Idahosa, it's somebody that I think can, you know, have a Senator Adams Oshiomhole having some form of control over him. He's not going to have the same control over Senator Monday.
I don't think so.
Unless now the party has called them together to have some gentleman agreement amongst themselves. Because at the end of the day, it's about give and take. Oh, Senator Monday, what are you going to give to the other side? You know the way these things happen, so that, you know, we can all have peace. Okay, we'll give you running mates for your chosen candidate, because it's going to be negotiation of Senator Adams Oshiomhole against that of Senator Idahosa and Senator Monday. So, but that's the APC sorting itself out, and that's the way I think to a great extent they've always managed to solve their own problems.
Because each time I see Kayode Fayemi and Abiodun Ubanji,
yes,
I see both of them every time. They're always together.
The cordiality, you know.
Fayose, that is even a member of the opposition, is always in the picture as well. I think 2 weeks ago, the governor was still in Lagos at the official residence of Ayodele Fayose.
Yes.
Every single time, you see that cordial relationship.
The PDP guys in the Ekiti state that you know.
We can't talk about that. You also look at, because again, if we say godfatherism should be eradicated in politics,
yes,
you look at some of these issues going on. I remember I asked one of the spokesperson for Usman Ododo,
yes,
the new governor of Kogi State, because his first set of appointments, 80% of them were formal appointees of the immediate past governor of the state.
They gave him the paper and I just work with this.
The same thing. He just literally just told them, go back to your offices and continue from there.
Now.
Look at what happened in Rivers State. The boiling point. It almost got into something else at the burial of Albert Iwigwe, where the governor came out to say this, and then Senator Godswill Akpabio again came out and he told the governor that there's nothing there. If the kitchen is too hot, you can leave. You know, in a solemn environment like that, you brought up political. At the end of the day, on Sports Cruise yesterday, we talked about Jose Mourinho's quotes. You know, where you always say, "Oh, somebody is a master of failure. If I talk this and that." maybe when you now look at compilation of Senator Godswill Akpabio, you look at some of those very famous quotes that he has made, maybe in the next couple of years we just sit back and say there was a Senate president. Yeah. Well, interesting conversation. We'll still continue to give you updates on everything we've talked about on the show today. The concerns of INEC, talking about infighting and parallel primaries amongst political parties affecting the resources of INEC. We also talked about, the position of Pa Edwin Clark, expressing his shock and how, barbaric and unforgivable the killings that happened in Delta states, the Ughelli South local government specifically. We also looked at Ondo State, and we ask ourselves again, if this election is come and gone in Ondo State, how much more would the legacy of Akiti be sustained? That's the question we asked, and Said Fuad, brought up the issue of they call her Mama Imo. That's the wife of the former governor. Yes, I remember she went to contest for she wanted to be the senatorial candidate for Imo East Senatorial District, and then by the time she got to the venue of the primaries, they told her they already had the primaries yesterday, and then she went on rampage. She was insulting and all of the while. Time will tell how long she will be able to stay active or stay relevant. But my worry is the legacies of late Rotimi Akeredolu. He was a good man, former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, and we have another former president of NBA now, being the candidate of the Labour Party in Edo State. I'm talking about Olumide Akpata now. So let's see how all of that would align. 0913-700-0410. We've talked about a lot of these issues. It's time for you to join the conversation. Let's talk straight to the point. Hello. Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Ufoma from my Godo.
Ufoma, you're welcome.
What I greet to you.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Please, there's a question I will ask you, because you create a little fear of me yesterday during your analysis in the paper review, during your foreign, what do you normally call it?
Global view.
Yes.
Global view.
Exactly. I will still ask that question. But let me start from Akpabio. He may not end as any president before the foreign way, because too much mistake is on his side. Too much mistake. That's for that. But the way you also analyze the issue of those politics across, but both the APC, who know how to play opposition, and PDP, none of them bring any good thing to the table for the people. None of them are. From the day of democracy, none of them, even Okakakoson by Kolomajeko. So there is nothing to write until we properly get it right. Then we appreciate our democracy. For now, we are not enjoying it. So let me go to the dark your point. You create a little fear. When you are discussing the issue of Russia and Ukraine, that if not the support of USA, that all the other alliance, Germany, France, if I may ask you, peradventure, I'm not saying to name, if USA remove it and say Ukraine on your own, what can France, Germany, England, they don't really have the muscle power to be there for Ukraine? That's just my question.
Well, the United States, the US president just authorized a $300 million aid to Ukraine, military aid to Ukraine. But that's a lot of money. But I think that conversation will really play a big role in the election between. By the way, we're having a rerun of the 2020 election between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Because Biden had picked up the ticket for the Republican, and of course the Democrat have given President Joe Biden to continue from where. And I told someone, we had a conversation about this, and I said VP Kamala Harris will play a big role in this campaign, because I think she's probably going to be the face of the campaign.
Well, there are too many issues, but just to answer Ufoma, the reality is that the European alliance alone cannot sustain Ukraine.
Can't.
And that's why you see that at every conversation, the NATO alliance is heavily dependent on what the US does. And if you have a Donald Trump, winning eventually in November with what he's saying about NATO, the possibility of even the US pulling out of NATO, Ukraine is in trouble if that happens.
He did. When Donald Trump was president, he withdrew the United States from NATO because 40% of the funding of NATO comes from the US. So it was when Joe Biden came in that he took you.
If you like Ukraine, just pray Biden wins again.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, guys, how are you now?
We are fine.
This is Dr. Moses from Solo.
Dr. Moses, welcome.
When you open the line, thank you. When you open the line, what? Give up our time now. Anyway, brilliant America, this is for 1 hour now. Pakla, well, I don't really believe that man. He says something in the morning and starts the evening. Good luck to him. For the Nigerian politician, if he can't respect his own symbols written by him in his party, how do you expect them to be lawful when they get to office or offices where the constitution they do right? They won't obey the symbols of their families. Hence, we have 3 times they've been thrown up in some so-called party families. So you can see why they are always very brazen and knowledge. With respect to endorsement, ultimately it's the people's endorsement that matter. In 1979 or 1779, UPN, the legend actually preferred in Oyo State to Bola Ige. But because he knew that he had to be democratic, he should vote. And Bola Ige trounced Olayode as been very well. Obama endorsed Hillary in 2016, but we know the story, Trump emerged. So ultimately it's the people that will decide. And of course, I'm never emotional. I think he must have his own wahana when he was alive. Because for him to be dragged in the mud now, I'm not emotional about the dead. Once you are dead, you are dead. If he was that good a coach, even the effort his followers had when he was so gravely ill, fatally ill, he took to be, he kept saying that he will come and come back. He showed the kind of person he actually was. I know the man that said his plan and the year that should back it up. So what goes around comes around. For the wife, if she still wants any money come of respect left, I remember when Jonathan left Turkey, almost a day or 2 after, patients in a swag went to the airport. They told her on the spot, madam, please smell the coffee. You are now former first lady. And she got the message. Let Mrs. Betty get the message out. Her husband is no more. No sentiment here. Lucky is here. If not to play the politics very well, so be it. We answered the last one. This is about labor. The labor movement should please say that it should not further within the Labour Party that seems to be the only semblance of opposition we have. Good day.
Thank you very much. 0913-600-0410. Keep the calls coming in. You can also drop your comment on Facebook, facebook.com/Mainland 98.3 FM. It's Midweek Politics. Side forward, and I get to do this every Wednesdays from 1 to 3 p.m. We'll take you beyond the surface of some of your leading political stories and way beyond what you get to read from the regular news outlets. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Okoyemi and this is Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ from Obaniko.
Mr. Tochukwu from Obaniko, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I have been listening to your discussions, and I want to believe that I can touch on any political matter today. First of all, I sympathize with our lost, our fallen heroes, whom they said we are allegedly
peace mission
on a peace mission when they had to kick the bucket. You see, it is wrong for anybody to believe we are there for peace mission when it has not been said who called them or who gave them the order to go on that journey. And as much as we sympathize and mourn with their bereaved, we must acknowledge the fact that the president was too quick with that order that the military should make sure that the no, he didn't say they should carry out the investigation. What he said was that they should do anything possible to give justice to the perpetrators. And now, the perpetrators have not been identified. Instead, the option the military took was to begin to burn and destroy the property of the people in the community. Now, I have listened to your programs, either political roundtable or trend in the papers, or even similar discussions in other fora. People are saying, both panelists and callers have been saying that the community we are supposed to dish out the perpetrators, so that the idea of burning their property or killing them will not have happened.
Thank you.
Now, nobody has been able to say that whether the community we are under threat, whether if they make mention of any of the perpetrators, whether they will have got a severe losses or not. Nobody has said that. And whereas the investigation has not been carried out, they have already gone ahead to give punishment to the community. What of if after the investigation is carried out?
Thank you very much.
That's what an investigation will unravel.
That's exactly what investigation will unravel. And whatever video we're seeing right now, they are not even confirmed yet, because most of the people that posted the videos had actually brought down the videos, because even we all know
the burning houses, the military has not said that their own video. Really, it's just it's difficult really to begin to,
especially with the blackouts. I'm not allowing the press to get stories out of that place. It's always going to be a one-sided conversation. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Okay, we got here a bit late. Keep the calls coming in. 0913-600-0410. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good to have you join us on the show today.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Salam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. You see, in the morning, I heard you lamenting about that up to now, press are not allowed to access that particular place.
Abi now.
You see one thing, therefore, as you see this way, after Milan FM, I don't think that I'm radio. Well, I'm not. I don't listen to all this radio, whatever. You know why?
Why?
About 80% of our media, power and electronics, they are being politicize. Either they are owned by a politician or somebody who has sympathy to the government. You understand? Today, as I'm talking to you, if I want to listen a station where government policies will be criticized, I know where to go. You understand? So this is for that. But let us not deviate from. That is not why I call on this brutal killing of those soldiers. Any standard, no one can do. You understand? But you see, one thing I want you to understand is that our Nigerian soldiers are being politicized. We are blaming their killing, yes, but no one can, justify any criminality. But the issue is this: politicians have more power in those communities, two communities that are fighting. Don't be surprised there is one powerful politician or somebody who is very close to the government. Education. So I'm not the social media to know. But through what I'm hearing from you people, Lieutenant Colonel is there, Major is there, Captain is there. This is task force. It's just a small unit, which is 80 soldiers or 120. Which captain can lead that operation? You understand? Captain can lead that. Even if something, second lieutenant can even lead that operation.
Battalion, yeah.
Why is it? Yes, no, it's not battalion. It's just a unit.
A unit from the battalion, yeah, from the amphibious battalion.
Yes, it's just a unit. No, it's just a unit. It's not even different. So why is this? It's to tell you that one powerful someone there. So those people, they don't look at them as the people that come to make peace. They look at them as people that are already taking sides. You understand? This is this. And this is not the first time. Last year, an 80 combat military men on board, you remember, that gone down or shot down by bandits. And all of them were killed. The same headquarters on their own, they confirmed that 37 soldiers were on board. Okay, forward. The only word we hear from government is that it should give us a first statement that these are the people are like killed. And soldiers, 37 soldiers.
These are human
37 soldiers.
These are fathers, breadwinners of different homes.
Forget about that one set. Put that one aside. Let us look at it from the logic side that these are the people who are defending this country. America cannot afford. I always give you that popular this thing about the staff sergeant that was swapped with Taliban commander or whatever. Just to save one staff sergeant. But in our own case, in change. Okay, in Imo again. After that again, Imo after before the election, after election. The same soldier, something like that happened. They kill about. Okay, thank you
so much. Thank you very much. I totally understand where it's coming from. That's why a lot of people are having this fear that it looks like probably there were no definite actions taken. That's why people are constantly having the infantry to attack the soldiers, and because this is not the first time it's happening. I remember what Malam Salah was saying. It happened that a boat was actually attacked and soldiers were killed. Do you know how many time military formations in this country have been overrun by whether terrorists or bandits, and nothing happens to these people?
We just take the news and we move on.
We just move on. I understand where it's coming from, but even at that,
we still cannot.
We have to understand the fact that most times, like we said at the start of this show, the people that carried out that killing, far away, maybe even out of that zone, out of that geopolitical zone entirely.
Don't be surprised if some of them are even in Lagos already.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ope.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Flan.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. I greet you. Please, my name is Joshua, calling from Andolebo. Right now, I'm calling from Adeji.
You're welcome.
I want to know.
Hello, Mr. Joshua.
Okay, I would appreciate if you can call back 0913-600-0410. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please put down the volume of your radio set, or you turn it off completely.
Okay, I will. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good
afternoon. I think it's better now.
Yeah. Okay, my name is Eniola Abeji. I'm calling from Olambe Joshua State.
You're welcome, Mr. Eniola.
Yeah, I say kudos to you and your folks discuss something there today.
Thank you.
You are really doing a good job. One thing that baffles me is what premises the Senate President based his judgment on the fact that those who killed the gallant soldiers must have been mercenary hired from somewhere. I think it is that time somebody close to the Senate President made him realize that it's number 3 man in the country today. And whatever contact is not should be well guided. Remember what he said, even at the solemn ceremony when people were being buried which was rather very, very
insensitive.
Now, you know what he probably said on the floor of the Senate, that a 30 billion naira
unconfirmed report
was to all the state government. He fully well that it does not have all the facts within the past. I think it is high time somebody should talk to him that he should get the substance. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Well, we've always talked about utterances of public office holders at different conversation. I think last week we had this conversation, and somehow Senator Godswill Akpabio always comes into the picture. Somehow, whether he's been alleged to have had an hand in the removal of a senator. I remember when Senator Elisha Abo's issue happened. He was like, "Oh, the Senate President is fully involved. He was one that necessitated my removal from my senatorial district," and a lot of people just kept asking. Your body language, your utterances when you hold political office is really, really key. Really, really key. Okay, let's read some messages here so that the people on the other side don't feel abandoned. Michael Orea says, "It is unbelievable for a small community as Okwama to have massacred armed 17 soldiers. The soldiers should not make innocent people to suffer for this crime. Who invited the soldiers? Who authorized the mobilization of the soldiers to the community? The government and the military should ensure the innocent are not punished or killed in the search for the culprits." Okay, what happened in Delta State is unfortunate. This is coming from Tayo Dada, and it says, in such civil unrest, they could have sent the police to stabilize the area. Sending army was wrong. And also, how did the army engage the people before the attack on the army? In America, you see different level of police that will handle such cases. If they can't handle it, the army is the least or is the last resort. Okay, yeah. By now, a serious government should have a state police. It will have handled such incidences. So how can you see the difference between the Israeli government and the army and your government? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Michael Arias is still talking. He said, as the agreement signed by Fubara and Wike in the presidential villa resolved the dispute, Dennis and Monday cannot work together because it was a forced relationship which cannot stand the test of time. The only party happy in this arrangement is Oshomole's group because they lost woefully. When you look at Monday's face when he was being given the APC flag, he was not happy. Okay.
I can see the point.
Pass more than Ladi, I got your message. Thank you very much. Really I saw those pictures. I saw those pictures.
It was a forced marriage, really. I agree with you.
Well, the leader of the party in the states is certainly Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, and obviously has the ear and the eyes of the president. And the president asked him that, are they good to go? And he said yes.
Again, for Senator Monday, you can't have winner takes it all. You have to concede. So I'm sure when the option came for sake of peace of the party and so that we can work in unison,
let me just
take this man as your running mate. The problem is, even if they eventually win, what will be the relationship?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
you're welcome.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Mr. Desmond, can you speak up a little bit?
Okay,
it's better now.
Yesterday I was able to dig out some information from the village people. That they played the video.
Mr. Desmond, please, I would appreciate if you can call back. The voice.
We can't even work with anything anybody is saying until we have official statements, until media.
I'm sure there will be official position. You can't just keep
until
it
the media is allowed into that area. I really don't want us to take anybody's account.
That's why even when I watched that video of that report by the local station, TV, I just felt like let's just wait a little bit. Yeah. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Fuad and Okoyemi.
You're welcome.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm fine. Yes, concerning
your name and where you joining us from.
The statement of God.
Your name, sir.
You've not told us your name.
Hello?
You've not told us your name.
Okay, let me call you back.
Okay. We actually heard you. We're just saying you need to do the proper thing. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
You're welcome. Mr. Desmond.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, I was trying to explain something. You don't allow me to land before you told me wrong.
It's a sensitive matter, really. So we have to.
I'm sure you understand where we're coming from.
Because the people who were sick, the village people they sick out for Yanagua. From that Yanagua, the radio station at the airport made the thing for radio. So it's official thing. It's not that UNICEF is fabricating to tell you. And I'm not communicating any matter to tell you that this is what, but is what the radio station plays. This Lagos, everybody here.
Wait, Eunice Adesman. A radio station can do wait. We are all guided by different standards. So the fact that wait now, the Eunice Adesman, you talk. The fact that radio station played it doesn't mean we will play it. You understand? There are different ethics that we follow, and we know how to do our job professionally at different levels. So
yes, you know the factor of this Nigeria such a thing. The less you see, the more you are hearing. So, okay, why are they not allowing press access to the village to know what is happening there? Okay, we watch Gaza. There's bomb every day by day, bomb by.
And there's 24 hours coverage for that.
24 hours coverage. What is happening? Are we in war?
Thank you, Mr. Desmond, and I totally understand his concerns, because when there are no official position in issues like this, a lot of people will start flying propagandas and agendas, and then people just go with it, because when you create a vacuum, anything that feels it becomes the truth, and people just hold on to it. So, well, I'm sure they have the reasons for wanting to blank out the media, so that.
But I don't think it's a good reason.
I don't think it's a good reason. It's a very sensitive situation. Everybody is involved, whether you're in Delta or you're in Kano. Everybody is involved. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Sorry, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name, where are you joining us from?
My name is Joshua. I think the network joined me up. I want to know between the life of the military, the security men in this country, most especially, and the life of the civilian, which one is more important?
None.
You see, both is equal.
Okay.
We're all Nigerians.
So, are the military allowed to kill the civilian? And
no.
The same way the civilians are not allowed to kill the military and go scot-free.
Fine. Just about a few years ago, the military killed people at Lekki Tōgate. Sir, up till tomorrow, have the civilian gone to Tabara to burn them down? Hello?
Well,
we just want to hear where you're coming from.
Fine. You see, if the military feel that because we have run with this their side of the story for too long, why haven't they allowed people, to the journalists, especially you people, to have access to the community? So if there's anyone left to hear from the side of the community, because it could be that they are just, okay, look at now, nobody, no community or no journalist could enter there, because they have to be there and perpetrate their evil and cover it up before they want somebody.
No. I kind of have a feeling the moment they asked those questions, I knew that was where it was going to. I've always said it. For every political office holder in this country, the only thing that gives you that advantage is the office you are holding. As a president, you are not more Nigerian than me. As a senator, as a senate president, you are not more Nigerian than me.
You are even in that position on the mandate of the people.
On my mandate,
so
if at all. So it's basically about the office you are representing. And the moment President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ceases to be president, he is open to be persecuted. His immunity only covers him when he's in office, and immunity does not even cover everybody. It covers only the governor and the deputy governor, the president. Because I remember when the former Senate President Olusola Saraki was docked.
The CCT, the Code of Conduct
Tribunal docked him as a sitting Senate President. So nobody's life is more important than the other. The same way the military don't have the right to go into village and kill people,
and they should not be killed too.
They should not be killed. Before I became a soldier, I'm a Nigerian. I have a family. So the fact that I wear the uniform and I swore to protect the sovereignty of the country does not mean that I should do that. At the risk of my own family. Yes. Akowojo and Egbeda or if you are Modakeke fighting,
then you kill that number of soldiers. Unfortunately, I understand where you are coming from, Joshua, but don't let us speculate. Let's just wait
until we get the right information. More messages coming in. Okay.
Tough ones.
Kabira, you can imagine. Kabira Adegbero says, well done. You see those who killed our soldiers, they should be brought to book. That is coming from Kabiru Adegbero.
Yes.
So some of these comments, if you read them, that just I understand people's positions.
For radio.
That's the key. That's the right word. Very interesting for radio. But I totally understand the position of all of these people. But said, I want us to take a step back a bit to Pa Edwin Clark.
Yeah.
For him to have said that the possibility of those acts being carried out by mercenaries is zero.
Zero, yes.
Does that mean he has information that even the Senate president does not have access to in this case? He's an elder statesman.
He's right on ground there. He's in the Niger Delta, and he has people, he has here and there in the Niger Delta. And I think at the end of the day, his conclusion on the matter was that, look, this should be thoroughly investigated while we also appeal to the military authorities.
But how do you investigate this situation, side for? Because there are reports that the whole community is deserted already. That the moment the news filter that soldiers have been killed, because people understand the consequences of such as terrible a decision as that is, it has consequences. So there are reports that people already left and people already. So who do you want to investigate?
What I think is that this is the time for the president to now step in. He's given the first order, which is to give full authority to the military to do whatever they want to do to fish out these killers. But when it comes to investigating what had happened completely, while the process of getting the killers is still ongoing, of course, the military will not stop. I think this is the time. And I'm surprised that, look, at plenary yesterday, there was no resolution of the Senate to form an investigative committee to visit that community. They will be granted access. If the governor can be granted access,
the Senate
should have access to that community.
Let's talk to this caller. Hello, good afternoon.
Okay.
You're welcome. Pastor Ambrose.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
What?
Good afternoon.
This your program. I'm not yet, how do I put it now? I'm not yet used to it. And I like, each time I meet it, it pains me. You know, I just hooked up now. I like talking and I like current affairs. So anywhere it is happening, I always want to be there. I don't know how you people can be reaching me so that I can be joining from the beginning.
It's 1 to 3 every Wednesday.
I know, it's just that I'm not yet defaulted to it.
Okay.
Should I use that language?
It's a gradual thing.
It's either I will remember before you start or after you finish. Now, this Niger Delta issue, for me, what Edwin Clark said, I agree with him 100%. Mercenaries, I don't agree in any way. But, you know, my worry is this. All this is a result of the system. I'm not trying to see, okay, I've never committed crime. I've never been involved in crime. I hate crime. But you look at the system, everybody cannot be like Ope, everybody cannot be like Fuad Side, everybody cannot be like Pastor Ambrose. So all of these things, from the top hierarchy of the military, the politicians, the top civil servants, the police officers, all of these things form the nucleus of all of this, and that's why we are where we are. The problem we have is that we don't have good leadership. If we have good leadership today, things will fall in place naturally. Look at Ghana when Rawlings was there. Look at how things fell in place, and Ghana became one of the most. Now after Rawlings, now Ghana is going back to post-Ghana. You know, corruption. So I am very, very worried, and I hope that our politician will let. President Tinubu has to do a lot too. It's not just talking. He has to wake up, he has to sit up. Let him lead by example. Okay, if Tinubu today decides to be transparent, the governors, the ministers, everybody will fall in places. He is not showing transparency. God bless you.
Pastor Ambrose, thank you very much for always joining the conversation. Of course, I'm sure with time you get used to this one. We started this program this year, by the way, so we always have it at the back of your mind that from 1 to 3 every Wednesday there's midweek politics. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm well, and you?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm okay. This is Muhammad Abbas calling from Ikeja.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, you guys. Well done to have a good. You people are doing a very good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for keeping us enlightened all the time. Nigeria problem. So I always said it. I think we need action. We this talking. I think it cannot take us anywhere. I know, Mr. Fuad, you don't want to hear something like a celebration or anything like that, but we have no choice. Because we cannot continue like this. I think the so-called democracy is a failure. Well, as far as I am concerned, I am old enough to experience 2 military administration. Far they are better than this so-called democracy. Honestly speaking, you people know we are all in this country. When things are working, why this so-called democracy is not even working in Nigeria? Why? Look at the country around us. These small countries. We are calling them small. Go there now. See, everything is working. Security is working. People are living in peace. People are enjoying themselves as a human being. We Nigerians here, nothing is working. For God's sake, how can we continue like this? Every day we are talking about governance and what it's all about linked to good governance. When we are not going to ready to do the good governance, I can assure you this problem will continue. And we cannot continue like this. We have to protest. We have to come out, take action against these leaders. We have to push them out. Otherwise, next 100 years will continue like this. We will be worse than this. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Said Fuad. There's a message for you on Facebook, and this is coming from Dayo Dada.
Okay.
He said, kindly ask Oga Fuad to rate the past governors in Lagos till now. Yesterday, someone said in a statement that the person that built Lagos had scattered Nigeria. Okay, that's an assignment for you, by the way. This one says Michael Oreas on Facebook. Dennis Idahosa was forced on Senator Monday because he didn't want to disobey the president. The bond between Idahosa and Monday cannot last. The reason why the president is being listened to by the APC member is because of the power he possesses.
I agree with that completely. You listen to him, he's the president.
He's the president.
Leader of the party.
Except you want to join the queue. He's the president.
Yeah.
Okay, more messages coming in. Good afternoon, everyone. The conversation today is interesting, but why are they not allowing the press to cover what is happening in Delta states? Well, whereas we are in the same state we are, we don't know why. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. There is something I want to ask you.
Okay, I think it's better now.
It is from Obanikoro.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I want to start from where the last caller stopped. He was talking about the need for us to protest. But I want to talk about the nature of our protest today. Each time there is protest, they need the media to turn out the idea of peaceful protest. And we have seen that all our peaceful protest is always like a jamboree. After the jamboree, they continue on their doing. Do you think people protest will be able to solve the problem we have in hand? You know, time what happened that Ghana Park should happen again. I mean, it happened and somebody killed everybody. Yes, kids were destroyed and times were wasted. Let it happen again so that maybe people wake up. Then the issue of the fact that Sami and other agencies in our tertiary institutions, in our universities are on strike means that the budget that the President administration is coming with is empty. So this is an agreement they had with these people. Are they saying that it was not part of the budget? If it is part of the budget, why are these people not being settled? Is it not wickedness? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I think we won't be able to pick more calls. Apologies. The calls are still coming in, but we need to call it a day on the show. Interestingly, we spent almost 2 hours.
How time flies.
I mean, look at we just started. Aside from next week Wednesday, I'm sure before we come back, there will be more development, especially on
information we can work with.
Absolutely, especially on the issue of the unfortunate killing of the soldiers in Delta. But beyond all of this, Nigerians are still struggling with keeping body and soul together. So sometimes when you look at all of these distractions, it means that today when we're supposed to be asking questions for development from the government, we're already looking at Delta in Kaduna after the over 287
students were kidnapped. We have 7 days.
On Sunday, 87 more people were kidnapped again in Sokoto. In fact, one of the leading headline story for
in the Punch newspaper,
I think if you read that and then you go through the full details, then you understand how really disturbing that is. And let me just flash it through for you. It says 165 farmers killed in March.
Just in the month of March.
Farms deserted at bandits' demand for 3 billion. Now it becomes a bandits, terror and death. This has been the story for a while in Nigeria, and nothing has been done about it. A new day comes with new kidnapping story by bandits or deaths of our farmers, and nothing seems to be changing. People are dying like flies every single day.
And these are farmers that are supposed to produce the food.
So sometimes you look at the conversation around the food crisis, and it's not really about closing the border. It's about the fact that the farmers here cannot go to the farms. They cannot access their farms. 130 farmers have been reportedly killed in Benue this year alone.
Just in the month of March. They're saying this March, so, when we talk about food security, we can feed ourselves. The president has been on this beautiful speech of, we can feed ourselves. We have all it takes to be able to even feed the rest of Africa. But look, that cannot happen on mere wishes. The reality is that, look, our farmers are still not able to go to farm. Bandits have taken over. The other farmer clashes in the north central part of the country is something that we're not still paying serious attention to. The northwest, the bandits have taken over. In Kaduna State, they keep kidnapping people in Zamfara. It's a problem. Niger State, it's a problem. So you ask yourself, where did food come from? Where is the food going to come from?
And the borders are closed.
Manners from heaven.
The manna that fell in the heaven, that one was in the Bible. Well, thank you very much, Said Fuad, for bringing this edition of the program again to us, and of course giving us detailed information. And hey, thank you to you listening, and for every calls that came in, the ones we can't pick, the calls, the messages we can't read. Please, next week Wednesday we'll be back. But before then, 3 o'clock is Request Wednesday on the Boss J and BB. You know what I mean? You can call in and drop in with your song request. They will play it for you. Of course, the superstar DJ is here. DJ Gabby T will take you through the remaining period for the afternoon bell. By 6 o'clock, we'll be back for Sport Cruise. But before then, join Sage Babalola by 4 o'clock to 5:30 in this.
The Sanu Nasu problem.
Yes, you'll be interested in that conversation. My name is Okoyemi Akionde. God willing, I'll be back next week Wednesday to give you more interesting stories in this midweek politics. I almost said the situation. Have a very good afternoon.